Sabo and Koala debuted on the 26th of November 2019. Following the massive success of the Luffy Law batch, Bandai followed up with another slam dunk batch that excited the player base. This batch featured units that are a part of the Revolutionary Army. These characters included Captain of the Revolutionary Army Northern Forces, Karasu, Captain of the Revolutionary Army Eastern Forces, Belobedi, Captain of the Revolutionary Army Southern Forces, Lindbergh, and the Sugofest exclusive character of the batch aimed to boost the Free Spirit and Cerebral classes, which were already some of the best classes in the game by this point. With a unique switch effect granting affinity and a special that would provide an attack boost, this unit was a one-man army, as well as enabling you to remove pesky slot debuffs. Introducing youthful revolutionary aces Sabo and Koala. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugofest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. Thanks very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC, and today we're looking at a pretty awesome batch of characters. Well, you know, mainly one big unit and one really big rare recruit that we'll talk about, of course, but Sabo Koala was a huge release. This was following just the big release of Luffy Law, and everyone was excited about that unit, and then they dropped this Sabo and Koala, and it was crazy because it almost seemed like Sabo and Koala were like just as good as Luffy Law, and they dropped directly after them. Great synergy between the two as well. We'll talk about it, of course. Sabo and Koala, very powerful unit for a long period of time in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and had a very unique special. And I remember specifically when Sabo Koala dropped, the treasure map that came out for that release of that character was so difficult, because if you didn't have Sabo Koala, it made the content very difficult to get around. And I remember there was a big drama around all that. But Sabo Koala, very strong. Let's talk about the rare recruits first. There's also the Colosseum Mole, which is the content that we're going to be looking at today, utilizing this new batch. Karasu, the first rare recruit here. This rare recruit has been so good for so long. Like, this is one of the best aged rare recruits of all time. Quick, Free Spirit, Cerebral, and you'll see a theme in this batch, focusing around Cerebral and Free Spirit. So the big thing is that he has a special ability that reduces special cooldown of Free Spirit and Cerebral by 2, and then reduces special bind and increased damage taken and burn duration by 5 turns, as well as having the ability with his crewmate abilities to resist special reverse by 2 turns and 5 turns of special bind. This unit is amazing. Removing the special bind and special reverse in one combination, you do not see it very often. There's only a very small amount of characters in the game that can deal with special reverse and special bind with one special, and this is one of these units. I can't remember, with expansion, did he get fear resistance? He did. Like, dude, this unit's amazing. Like, as I said, one of the best age rare recruits of all time. And then we go from one of the best rare recruits to probably one of the worst ones in Belobedi. A lot of people were hoping for big things here with Belobedi, considering, you know, the artwork, of course, the waifu status. She is Sai, Free Spirit, Cerebral, and her special ability is also multi-staged, 11 turn cooldown with expansion and everything. Greatly boosts the chances of landing Sai recovery slots for 3 turns, boost recovery of all characters by 1.5 for 3 turns, and give a 0.7 chain addition for 3 turns, and then randomizes your slots that are not Sai or recovery. Not a great special ability. I mean, offensively, the only good thing here is the 0.7 chain addition for 3 turns. But this whole effect of, you know, making Sai recovery boosted, make them matching obviously as a crewmate for Free Spirit and Cerebral, like, that obviously is a cool component, but it doesn't guarantee you slots, it just shuffles them around. So it doesn't really help you in a lot of circumstances. If this just guaranteed you a full board of Sai recovery, makes the matching for 3 turns, you get the maybe a higher chain boost for 3 turns. Boosting recovery is kind of whatever. It hasn't really ever been a very useful mechanic ever, to be honest. So Belobedi is a very disappointing rare recruit character that just essentially saw no play, even after release. The unit just wasn't useful for a lot of content at all. Final character, the final rare recruit is Lindbergh, who is Dex Free Spirit Shooter, so he is not Cerebral, he's only a shooter unit, and this unit has a very straightforward special. If you have a Free Spirit Captain boost the orbs of free spirit by 2 times for 1 turn. That is it. But he does have a crewmate ability that anytime a free spirit character uses a special, he gives -2 cooldown to himself, 9 turn cooldown, so you're able to charge your special very quickly, use him very early on in a quest, and then you can use him a little bit later on as well. So Lindbergh isn't awful, I will say. Lindbergh's not a terrible unit, but just didn't see a lot of play because free spirit at this point in time already had a lot of good support. And I mean, even if you were running a free spirit team, you could just use Luffy Law, even though when they're in their combined form, they're no longer free spirit. It's still a rainbow 2.5 orb boost, But then again, if you needed an orb boost to use in multiple different turns of a quest, then Lindbergh's not a terrible option. And then we get to Sabo and Koala. A lot of people wanted this unit on release. Very powerful. So free spirit cerebral on every different form of this unit. You got Sabo, who is strength, Koala, who is int, and then you move on to their captain ability. So you've got Sabo's captain, free spirit and cerebral, 3.25 times attack, HP and recovery 1.2. I say this a lot, but anytime you see a captain that has a recovery boost is actually pretty underrated, because the amount of HP you're recovering back every time you pick up one of those slots, when you have a recovery boosting captain, it actually adds a lot of HP. It's very, very good. You've got Koala, who is slightly different. She starts at a lower attack multiplier, but every time you hit a consecutive perfect, you get a 0.1 extra to your boost. So she can cap out at 3.5, so she can actually get higher than Sabo, but the average damage of Sabo is still very, very solid. In their combined form, 4 times boost to cerebral free spirit, HP recovery boost, and then every time you hit a perfect, you're adding 0.1, so they can total up to 4.5 in their dual form captain. Then we move on to the sailor effects. Nothing really amazing, making some certain slots beneficial to themselves. The switch effect, removing their own despair and paralysis completely, give themselves a matching slot, and boost color affinity of cerebral free spirit by 1.5 for 1 turn. This was one of the main reasons why this character was so good. Guaranteeing color affinity every single turn was so good. There wasn't any other switch effect at the time that could do anything close to this, so this is why this character was so desirable. And then their special was also amazing, changing block and badly matching slots into matching, boost the attack of cerebral free spirit by 2.25 for 1 turn. And then this was the real kicker too, removing beneficial orb buff and non-beneficial orb buff duration completely. So you could be in really weird situations, right? Where if the enemy gives you one of those debuffs that makes certain slots badly matching, when you use the special of Sabo Koala, it identifies, okay, if they make, all colored slots badly matching, and you have a full board of colored slots, well, you've got a full board of matching slots. Let's change those into matching, and then it completely removes that debuff of making those slots badly matching. So this is a really unique character that could just generate matching slots out of nowhere. Very, very cool. And then, of course, they combine for 3 turns into the dual form. So this character with the switch getting a 1.5 affinity boost and a 2.25 attack boost in one combined unit was very strong. And also the captain being a cerebral and free spirit focused captain, these were some of the 2 best classes in the game at the time, so it provided amazing support to those 2 classes, giving lots and lots of damage output. So Sabo Koala, as I said, one of the most desirable units, one of the most anticipated releases due to their overall power and their usability in a wide variety of content. So as I said, we're going to be using them today against Colosseum Morley, who is the other Revolutionary Army character, and this unit a very good free-to-play unit too. So if you guys haven't farmed this guy up, you probably should, because he's actually pretty good in a lot of circumstances. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it and start showcasing Sabo and Koala. Alright, so we're in-game here with Sabo and Koala, and of course we are using some of the other key characters that released around this time period. We've got the release of Rare Recruit Karasu. He's amazing, of course. He's going to be very good in the final stage. We've also got this free-to-play Leo. He was like a weird Clash-style unit, free-to-play unit that came out at the time, and he came out before this Colosseum, and you farm up the Leo, and the Leo actually helps you in the Colosseum, as we're hopefully going to showcase here today. We've also got 2 other characters as well. We've got Doflamingo and Treble dual unit to give us a bit more damage output on that final stage, as well as giving us Shanks, and Shanks is going to be a really powerful orb booster. Again, another good free-to-play character, and that's one of the things that I've noticed, since heading into the modern days of Treasure Cruise, is they actually don't release a lot of free-to-play units anymore. Back in the day, every new batch had heaps of free-to-play characters dedicated to them, and the free-to-play characters that they used to release were actually amazing, dude. Some of the abilities that you could get out of these free-to-play units were the effects that would rival like rare recruit characters at the time, you know, like it was pretty absurd, some of the abilities that we were getting, and it is kind of sad that, you know, that we're at a point in time where most of the time you only really want to use rare recruit characters, because back in the day you actually needed free-to-play characters farmed up in order to beat content. But I guess that's also a double-edged sword in a way, because if you want to bring people into the game, a lot of the time the most hype thing to do is introduce these new banners with all of this hype. And I know that Gear 5 is the big celebration happening as of the recording of this video, and even people that have never played Treasure Cruise before, or may have played it years and years ago, have come back, downloaded the game, done a bunch of pulls for these new units, and they want to play with these new summonable units because they are the most hype thing around, you know, and I can completely understand that. But at the same time, there should still be free-to-play characters out there that you want to farm all the time that are very, very good units, and we just don't get them that often. Like, we don't get clashes very often, we don't get arenas very often, and it is a shame because those are just not only just good units to have, but it's content for us to do. Anyways, I digress. A little bit of a side rant there. Sabo Koala here, of course. We just need to do our stall. We actually don't need to do any more stall. We should be able to move on here and just kill these giants. And we are also using the Zunisha ship as well. Another reason why Sabo Koala was so good is that they could fully abuse that Zunisha ship if you're running like mono cerebral teams, which is so good. So we've got Ivankov and Inazuma here. These guys are a bunch of pricks, man. These guys are just so annoying. So we hopefully kill Inazuma here, but I don't know if we're going to kill Inazuma in one turn. So we can use the switch abilities of Sabo and Koala to remove their own paralysis and despair, which is very, very good back in the day. Let's go ahead and switch over to treble as well. And then hopefully kill Inazuma. I don't know if we're going to kill Inazuma, but let's get it. Hopefully we can get at least good damage here. It doesn't look like we're going to kill Inazuma in one turn here. That is a shame. Hopefully nothing bad happens. Taking a pretty big chunk of damage, which is not good. So what's he going to do? Keep out. Okay, he gets our slots around. That's kind of annoying. I guess I'll just keep switching every turn because that's going to enable us to get some slots. And we want some slots. It's always useful. Hopefully kill this guy here. There we go. Move on to Ivankov. I don't know if we'll kill next turn. It's going to be pretty close. Death Wink. Don't do anything bad, please. Okay, so we get Despaired, but once again, Sabo Koala, they can deal with that. That's not a big issue. We did actually get a recovery slot, which I will gladly take. And we'll go ahead and attack. Give me that recovery slot. Healed back 3,600 from that. That's insane. And we did get the knockout versus Ivankov. That's awesome. Alright, so we move on to stage 4. And I remember, dude, this Sabo stage was so annoying. But as I was talking about with Leo, this free-to-play unit that helped you clear content, this is what he was used for here. So this Leo does, like, not a lot of good things, but he's, like, basically built for this stage where he can remove the enemy defense up, he can remove the bind on our captains, he can remove the increased damage taken. But another really annoying thing about this stage is that you're not allowed to use an attack boost or an orb boost versus Sabo. So you have to use these weird other boosts in order to actually get through him, or you carry an attack or an orb boost into this stage as well. That is a pretty fair way around it. So we'll go ahead and just provide some switches, and then next turn, hopefully do good damage as we switch like into Doflamingo. I think that's hopefully what we're going to do here. So let's see here. We'll attack with Karasu first, and hopefully end on our strength unit. So let's see how much damage we can do versus Sabo. Alright, so that was 2 million damage, which is not bad. Let's see what kind of slots we get here. Not the worst slots ever. I think we should be able to get the job done here. So we'll switch again, and then we'll go ahead and switch into Dofi. So now we have 3 units that are type advantageous with matching slots. Using the Doflamingo and Treble special ability, we get a chain lock on first activation, and if we hit, I think it's 4 or 5 perfects, we get another chain lock in the next turn, which is going to give us pretty good damage on that last stage. And another thing as well is we need to make sure that we can actually get matching slots on the final stage. So I think this is actually going to be really good here. We don't need to change any of these slots around. And now we just need to hit our perfects, and hopefully it's enough to kill Sabo. Alright, let's get it. Boom, there we go. 3.1 million. I think that was a 2.75 chain lock, and now because we hit all of those perfects, I believe we get a 3.25 chain lock in the next stage. So that's going to be huge for us here. And here we have the Morley, and he's kind of annoying on this stage too, because he has the HP barrier, which is very uncommon back in the day. You know, not so many characters had HP barriers, so it just meant we had to do a bit more damage to him. And I think he has around 20 million HP, so he's a very tanky unit back in the day. And you can see that all of these debuffs that he's given us with the badly matching slots, which is normally very annoying to get around. So the only slots that you can use, it looks like it's Dex and Psi slots. So Strength, Quick, and Int slots are all badly matching. So this is why we have Karasu, because he removes the Special Bind and Special Reverse. And then we can use the switch effect to switch into Koala, because he's a Psi unit right now, so we can abuse the Koala effect. And here we go with Sabo and Koala, providing us with a 2.25 times attack boost, and of course combining into their dual form with a 4 times Captain. And we can reach up to 4.5 once we hit the 5 perfects in a row, which is going to be huge. And then we can use the secondary Sabo Koala special to make sure we get the higher Captain boost, you know what I mean? And then we can use the special ability of Shanks, and this was Ambush Shanks. He was a very, very good unit back when he came out. Very good for Free Spirit teams, very good for Cerebral teams, just super, super solid. And now we've got 3 units with type advantageous abilities, and we have Color Affinity, Chain Lock, Orb, and Attack Boost. This should be more than enough damage to get the knockout. Let's get it. Huge 30 million damage, so 10 million damage in overkill. You absolutely love to see it. Picking up a very swift dub with Sabo and Koala, man. A very, very fun legend to use back in the day. You know, they brought out a lot of dual units during this time period, and even looking forward into next week, we're going to be covering even more dual units, but still a bunch of fun this unit is to use. And really hope you guys did enjoy this one, though. This was a lot of fun to utilize Sabo and Koala, and I really hope they get a super evolution in the near future, because this unit with a super evolution done right could be absolutely monumental. But that's going to wrap it up from me. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.